Business calling, just as important as it ever was. But you don't need to buy something to get it anymore. It's just a feature in the thing you already have. And that's one of the keys of what we're doing here is we're not just simply, burning through cash in a growth market and, profitability, to the wind. We're actually selling something that's exceptionally profitable, that's in demand, and that's growing rapidly in this marketplace.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Steve Forcum. He's the Director of Program Management at Sippio, but also known as Batman. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Steve, why don't you start telling me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm not delusional. I'm not a superhero at night fighting crime. It's a nickname that has a lot of different stories to it. But about me, I've been in and around the tech industry for my whole professional career, going back to just before Y2K. I started as a customer. I went through some channel partners, and then about 12 years or so ago, I joined Avaya. They were a telecommunications company that spun out of AT&T and Lucent, and their big thing was selling, on-premise phone systems. And over the course of my 12 years there, I grew my career. So I started as a regional sales engineer, and when I left Avaya, I was our head of solutions marketing and our chief evangelist. So I've seen a lot of different changes in the industry, from hardware that you install on site to hosted systems to SaaS. And what made me jump in this last jump is I see another evolution coming that I wanted to catch the wave instead of chasing the wave on. So
Tell me more about that.
yeah. So when you look at how businesses do work, through the pandemic, I think society in general was lulled into this. We were seduced by the present.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be like this. We're all working from our homes. We're all sitting at our desks all day. It's always going to be like this until it's not. They take the tech part of it out of it. It's always going to be like this. We're going to be ordering on Amazon and having stuff delivered to us. We're never going to shop in a store anymore until we didn't. Credit card transactions were showing online purchases went down and in-person shopping went up. We're a social species. We want to be around people. And the thing that is constant with humankind is that we are always changing and always evolving. And, to me, I see an opportunity that came out of this pandemic and this new work from anywhere environment. And that is the evolution of how we communicate. In the present, we all do video meetings and scheduled, Zooms and Teams and everything else. And, you look at things like the simple phone call. Do we still need it anymore? Who calls anybody anymore? Texts, video calls. Do we need phones? But the answer is yes. You still need to be able to talk to people. If you work with a business and they say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have a phone number, I can send you a Teams meeting invite or whatnot, you start to kind of get skeptical of that, right? There's a legitimacy to having a phone number. There's an intimacy to having a phone number where all of a sudden I'm just getting a phone call from somebody. It's not scheduled. It's not orchestrated. I don't have to, figure out whose bridge we're going to be meeting on. I don't have to be at my desk. I could be in the car. So the need for calling persists, but the need to actually buy a phone system or a cloud, phone system to do it, that's going away because calling is evolving just like every other technology did, from a thing that you buy to a feature that you turn on. And that's the wave that I am catching with Sippio instead of chasing with Sippio.
Yeah. So talk to me. So it sounds like, what I'm hearing is you left Avaya because you were kind of chasing that wave, and now you see Sippio as being really riding that wave. So why don't you talk to me more about, what Sippio does?
Yeah. So during my time with Avaya, I was the proverbial dog chasing a lot of cars. And that was, I'm trying to catch up to the market changes of somebody else. We sold on-premise phone systems. Then all of a sudden it was like, no. Now the world is moving to software, and we started becoming a software company. It's like, oh no, now the world is becoming a hosted environment. And it goes on and on and on. I was always chasing the car, and I saw an opportunity to flip roles and to be the car instead, because I see the world is moving to Teams. The world is on Zoom. It's basically a settled battle as much as it can be settled, right? The world runs on those two platforms. And those platforms have business calling in them as a feature. It just needs to be turned on. And the more that I was talking to customers about it, the more there was just growing interest in, how do I not use this or integrate this with Teams? Talk to me about how I make Teams work better. So I started looking, in the industry, and I knew some friends over here at Sippio, and they were talking to me about what they had built, and our belief really attracted me. At Sippio, we believe in simple, convenient, and agile solutions that just work. And that's a big thing for me, because coming from the old tech space where we sold software and you had to set it all up and it's tons of pro services, it takes forever to get up and running, to move to a model where what I've got just works, it's cloud-based, and I can turn it on in 10 minutes, that's game-changing for me. And, when you look at market changes, you've got to find this magic moment of the product hitting its acceleration and innovation cycle. When products are launched, they start as an MVP, really basic, not a lot of functionality. Sometimes they're not the most reliable things in the world, but they show promise. And then you start a period of rapid innovation, new features, new models, new capabilities constantly keep getting added and added and added. It's limited only by your imagination. And then, just like anything in life, it reaches a mature point. And then it's like, well, what else can I add to this thing, right? And it eventually evolves to become a capability in something else. So you got to find a product that's growing like that, in that kind of young life cycle. It's in that innovation phase. You've got to find a point in time where customers are adopting it outside of the kind of the early innovators and the early adopters. You want to kind of hit it right as it's hitting that mass market space, because that's where the most opportunity lies. And you want to do it in a way with a product that, has momentum behind it. It's a lot easier to push a boulder downhill than it is to push it uphill. Sippio has all three of those things. When I looked at the industry, it checked all of those boxes. Teams, Zoom, they are adding new features and capabilities literally like weekly. New AI, Copilot. I mean, it's mind-blowing to think about what they're doing on those platforms. So check. We're in the period of rapid innovation. If you look at the install base of Teams and Zoom, there's about 480 million seats or so, but only 20 million of them have voice turned on. So we're just about at that early adopter, the end of that early adopter phase. It's not the end. It's not the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning. And we're now about ready to go into that big space. And third, it's a product customers want. I don't need to sell you a hamburger. I just need you to sell you the cheese for your hamburger, right? So it's an easier sale. It's what customers want. It's the right moment in time. Check, check, check. And then Sippio's got the best platform out there for it. Simple, easy, cloud-based. It was an easy choice for me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it makes a lot of sense when you're talking about the life cycle of innovation, why you chose to leave Avaya and join Sippio. It certainly is very clear. I hear the passion behind your voice and the belief that you have in the product, at Sippio. That sounds great. So break that down a little bit more for me, what product offerings and solutions Sippio has. You mentioned Teams. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so our whole focus in life is to help our partners succeed in this marketplace. And the way that they do that with our platform today is by offering calling services for Zoom and for Microsoft Teams. So they can talk to that customer and explain to them, you don't need a phone system anymore. Business calling, just as important as it ever was. but you don't need to buy something to get it anymore. It's just a feature in the thing you already have. So empowering a partner to have that discussion with their customers, to sell something that is desired in the marketplace, that's highly profitable. And that's one of the keys of what we're doing here is we're not just simply, burning through cash in a growth market and, profitability, to the wind. We're actually selling something that's exceptionally profitable, that's in demand, and that's growing rapidly in this marketplace. So that's what we do. We do it. We do one thing. We do one thing really, really well. Our platform is deployed in Microsoft Azure. It's globally redundant. It never goes down. I think on average, we maybe get a handful of tickets per month. It's just a really flexible, agile system that a lot of the largest companies in the world are using to offer Microsoft calling or Zoom calling to their customers.
So what I'm hearing is it sounds like the adaptability and responsiveness of Sippio is really what differentiates, Sippio from its competition. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that do what we do. There's a lot of companies that will put voice in Teams or put voice in Zoom. There's fewer in the Zoom marketplace, but there's a lot of options out there. What makes Sippio different comes back to our belief. Solutions should be easy or simple, convenient, and agile, and they should just work. And in our marketplace, that simplicity is hard. It seems easy to make something simple, but when reality, understanding the underlying complexities and having that desire to make that fade away to the user of your product. Steve Jobs used to say it. Simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. So at Sippio, we make it look easy. One of our partners said to us, like, the best thing about you guys is you make it look easy. The worst thing about you guys is you make it look easy, but the best thing about you. And that's really a testament to the hard work on the engineering side that we've done to really take something that would take 200 lines of code, literally key whacking, DOS prompt type looking DOS prompts, and turn it into 3 clicks in a browser page.
Yeah.
And that hunger applies to everything we do. We're over-engineered. We're in, I think it's 9 different locations in Azure. We service 74 different countries around the world. It's all about scale, and it's all about empowering our partners to really enter this growing marketplace at the right moment with the right product, with the right demand in a way that's profitable. And that's also stable because everything is built on monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about on the first, how am I going to make my payroll? How am I going to, cut commissions? How am I going to cover all the overhead? On the first of the month, every month, when your business is built on recurring revenue, you know what you've got coming in. So it's a much more stable business. So we're really helping our partners succeed in a very, very challenging economy. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but growth companies are really being punished. We stand out apart from that because we've got that unique sauce.
Yeah, and 2 questions off of that. I guess I'll start, I've heard rumblings as well that, the industry has been punishing growth. So why do you think that is?
One of my favorite podcasters, Scott Galloway, talks about it. He says the era of champagne and cocaine is over. I don't know if he can say this on his podcast or not, but the era of the Fed and free money being pumped into the economy is over. And with rising interest rates, the money starts to recede. The speculative money starts to recede. And I think it was Warren Buffett says, when the tides recede, you learn who's been swimming without their trunks on. And you can see a lot of that in this industry because a lot of organizations were growing and they were, in the pursuit of growth, profits be damned. And once the party ends, once the punch bowl is taken away, you got to start showing profit.
Yeah.
Right. You can't have a burn rate that's greater than your take rate. And for a lot of organizations in a growth economy, they were just focused on growth. But now the bell has tolled, the piper needs to be paid. And you're seeing that across every industry, but especially in the tech and the cloud industries. You look at the market capitalizations of some of the largest of companies, not Microsoft, RingCentral, 8x8, even my old company, Avaya, it is not a pretty picture financially. So the growth at all costs economy is over. But that's what makes us unique, is that we're still growing by three figures, quarter over quarter. In our first quarter this calendar year, we reported over 170% growth. But it's profitable growth. Like, we're turning a profit. We're a profitable startup. We're 3 years into this business. So that really makes a dynamic opportunity for us in this type of a down economy. And as the economy starts to rebound, as more and more customers start to see the value of retiring their legacy phone system and treating business calling like a feature, we're well positioned to kind of just keep accelerating in on this and helping our partners succeed.
Do you think that that's one of the most common misconceptions that you hear in the industry?
Which misperception?
One, the kind of the growth at no costs, but also two, talking about the way that people utilize the solutions that Sippio offers.
Yeah. So let me start with the first. I don't think there's any question now on the need for profitability.
Like,
And I say that, but it's actually sad because our industry was impacted dramatically starting in the fall. We've had wave after wave after wave of reductions in force. Organizations have had to make very difficult decisions because they need to show profitability, and Wall Street is punishing organizations and stocks that do not show that. So I think Mark Zuckerberg said, this year is the year of austerity, or the year of efficiency. That was the word he used, the year of efficiency. So I don't think there's any debate at this point that the era of growth stocks is over. And not just in our industry, it's acute in our industry, but if you look at the streaming industry, for example, all of the streamers are getting battered because now it's not about subscriber growth. It's about, are you turning a profit? On the second piece, what we're hearing from our partners is that they see us as kind of the lighthouse through this storm, because we're standing apart from the industry. We're very, very young. We're a young company. We've been around for, less than a handful of years. We're a very lean organization. We have, under 50 employees. We have no physical infrastructure anywhere. We all work from home. And the value that we can drive through that is creating an opportunity for those partners who we work with to hit the market in a way that is growing, but also profitable.
I was just going to say profitable. Yep, absolutely.
That's the key, is you got to turn a profit. That's why we're all in business. That's the whole free market model, right? Is you got to turn a profit. And like I said, it really boils down to the three key elements of a business opportunity: right product, the right moment in time, and the right customer demand. And this hits all three of them. More and more and more customers are looking at Microsoft Teams and what they spend on Office 365, and then looking at, what am I spending to maintain this phone system? Something's got to give. In a year of efficiencies, do we really need this? Do we need a phone system anymore? And the question gets asked, and the answer is no, you don't. But you still need business calling. You still need for people to be able to reach you. So there's a natural answer, and that's where we fit. And that's where we've just seen incredible success, is by empowering partners to go out and sell calling into these leading collaboration platforms, whether it's Microsoft Teams, whether it's Zoom. We're going to be expanding our gallery of collaboration partners here shortly. So, you can probably do the math and figure out who that is, but we really see the opportunity here, and our partners agree.
That's fantastic. So, Steve, I think this has been a great conversation. As we start to wrap up, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, either about the industry, about Sippio, anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, it's a tough time in the industry, and I touched on this before, but there's a lot of folks who have been impacted negatively as the economy has pivoted from growth at all costs to efficiencies and profitability. So there is a lot of folks that need help. And one of the things that I've tried to do with my LinkedIn presence is to try and connect some of the great candidates that I know are on the market with their next great opportunity. So, if we look around the industry, I would say that's an opportunity for everybody to reach out to the people and try and help. As it pertains to the business opportunity, I'll just say it again. The key is finding a partner that believes in simple, convenient, agile solutions that just work, and that's Sippio. Our partners don't have to hold their breath when they introduce our solution to their customer that something's going to go wrong, or it's not going to work, or it's going to break, and they're going to get the phone call at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night. They don't have to deal with that. And that's really, really powerful, because the partners that we work with, they're the trusted advisor. They're if you think of digital transformation in an organization like it's a stew, Sippio, we're just one of the ingredients in the stew. There's Microsoft, there's Sippio, there's a whole host of other ingredients in the stew. The partner is the chef. They're the one that turns that into something delicious. And our partners don't have to worry about the stew going bad or something going wrong along the way when they've got us in the middle of it, because we just do what we say we do. We make something that's simple, easy, convenient and agile, and it just works. So
that's great. I love, the importance of simple, agile. I think it's fantastic. And Steve, this has been a really great conversation. I appreciate the emphasis that you placed on, the year of efficiency, the importance of profitability always, and, really breaking down the different solutions of Sippio, what Sippio offers, your movement from Avaya to Sippio, kind of the waves that you saw. I think this was a great conversation, and I appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Great discussion.
Yeah, great to have you.